Okay, we're back at the NamUs training site on the unidentified person system. And let's walk through a couple of cases to show how you might want to exclude or potentially match a person from the missing person side of NamUs to a person that's in the unidentified side of NamUs. So we'll take a look at case number 6727 on the UP side. And let's just familiarize ourselves with what kind of information we have on this decedent. We can see from the banner photograph that we have a photograph of a tattoo. That's always a plus. Under physical medical, let's see how they describe that tattoo. It's described as a distinctive sunburst tattoo on her back. And let's see, go to the images page and see if there's additional photographs of that. There's not an additional photograph of the tattoo, but there is a artist's reconstruction of what the person may have looked like. You notice that the tattoo was chosen as the banner photograph. That's a real image off of this person's body that somebody might recognize. And the artist's reconstruction, which is just that, a possibility by an artist of what the person might have looked like, that was included in the images but was not made the banner photograph. We also see we have a photograph of some dental radiographs that we'll come back and look at a little bit later. Let's see under fingerprints if we have fingerprints on our decedent. Well, we do not. Skeletonized remains did not allow fingerprints to be taken. Let's go to DNA. Well, lucky for us, DNA has been profiled. Both mitochondrial and nuclear DNA is currently in a repository at the University of North Texas, so that's a good thing to have on our decedent. And you will notice, too, by now that we have 4 out of the 5 stars lit up in yellow. So this case is seen to be a pretty high potential to match somebody on the NamUs MP side. And let's take a look at the dental page. So we do have dental information, and the charting is listed below. As we saw from the images page, there are x-rays available. There are teeth in both upper and lower jaws. And we can see that except for the first, the third molars, the teeth number 1 and number 16, the upper third molars, which are absent in life, all the other teeth in this individual were present when she died. A few teeth are missing post-mortem. That's what the P's mean. But all of these N's mean that the teeth are there, they were evaluated, and they apparently are not restored. There's no dental restoration, there's no fillings in these teeth. So this is very important that we have a decedent that has most of her teeth, and most of them are not restored. She is listed to be a 30 to 45-year-old female. We can get more information from the demographics page. And we can see that she's listed as pre-50, 30 to 45 years of age, Native American, 65 inches was her stature estimated to be. So let's take a look at a page that we talked about a bit earlier, but not in any detail, and that is possible missing persons matches. Within NamUs, the algorithms, the search algorithms, have found 5 possibilities that are currently listed on the missing person side of NamUs that could be matched to our decedent. Of course, all of them can't match. Only one can match, and it's possible that none of the 5 do match. But let's open up this screen and see what the possibilities are, and then go point by point to see if we can exclude the missing person from being our Jane Doe, or if we can fail to exclude, or perhaps even identify, match her with the missing person. So there are 5 possibilities. You can see from Omaha, Nebraska, Farmington, New Mexico, Albuquerque, New Mexico, Riverside, California, and Ukiah, California. Let's just open up this case from Farmington, New Mexico first. And we can see it's a missing woman by the name of Noreen Johnson. We only have this one image for Noreen, a photograph of her, probably submitted by the family. For our decedent, we have the photograph of the tattoo, the sunburst tattoo. We also have an artist reconstruction of what the individual may have looked like. I'll leave it up to you as to whether or not you'd ever want to base an identification or an exclusion based on what an artist thought somebody looked like and what the missing person actually does look like. And then the other image we have here on our decedent are the dental films, at least the dental films for for some of the upper teeth. Let's take a look at her physical characteristics compared side by side. As you recall, our decedent was judged to be 30 to 45 years old. Noreen was 43 years old when she went missing. We judged our decedent to be Native American ancestry. Noreen lists Native American as her ancestry. They're both women, of course. We estimated stature in our decedent at 65 inches. Noreen was 66 inches tall. She went missing out of Farmington, New Mexico, and the decedent was found in Norman, Oklahoma. So there's nothing in this description that would immediately make me want to exclude the possibility that Noreen could be our decedent. So let's open up her file, Noreen's file, by clicking on her MP number. She's MP number 620. Recall that we don't have fingerprints for our Jane Doe, but we do have DNA results. We have the tattoo description, and we have dental information. So if Noreen were to have these descriptors in her file, we would have something to compare to our decedent. So let's go under physical medical, where if you recall from the earlier tutorial, that's where the tattoo descriptions are listed. And under tattoos, unfortunately, there's no information at all. Doesn't mean she doesn't have these tattoos, it just means that they weren't listed in her missing persons report. Let's go over to dental. And unfortunately, dental information, charting is currently not available. So if she had seen a dentist, or if there are photographs or radiographs of her teeth, they're currently not in her missing persons report, which means we can't evaluate, we can't compare our Jane Doe's dental condition to Noreen's. And finally, let's take a look at DNA. Well, a sample is currently not available. So her family could not come up with a tissue sample from her or a family reference sample from them. So we can't use DNA as a basis. So we're in a situation here now where we'd like to be able to compare Noreen Johnson to our Jane Doe number 6727, but we can't. There's not enough information to do a really competent, thorough comparison. She's the right age, she's the right height, she's the right ancestry, they're both women, but that doesn't mean it's her. So we're left with this particular case as saying that we cannot exclude, but we cannot identify. What we need here is additional information on Noreen. So what I would do as a user of the unidentified side of NamUs, I would get in contact with the case manager of Noreen's case and ask for either DNA, tattoo, dental, or all three pieces of information. Ask that those be added to her file, and then perhaps we could make a more meaningful comparison. Let's go back to the case log of the 5 potential matches. Now that we can't exclude Noreen, but we certainly we cannot do very much more with her. Let's take a look at another one that's nearby. That's from Albuquerque, New Mexico, case 602. And this is Christine Julian. Now, Christine has multiple photographs of her face, and she also has dental radiographs. So right off the bat, we're in a better position to evaluate her against our Jane Doe than we were in evaluating Noreen's case against our Jane Doe. Take a quick look to make sure the NamUs algorithms did get somebody who is conceivably our Jane Doe. They're both, we estimated age to be 30 to 45, excuse me. Christine was 30 when she went missing. She's Native American, although they list Hispanic, Latino as ethnicity. They're both women, of course. She's listed as 62 inches. The height of our Jane Doe was estimated to be 65. Christine went missing out of Albuquerque, and of course our Jane Doe was found near Norman, Oklahoma. So again, nothing from this comparison side by side that I could use to exclude the possibility. And of course it's the search algorithms within NamUs that use this information that's listed here that came up with a possible match of Christine to our Jane Doe. So since we have dental information, let's go right to that in Christine's case. Let's open up her case, 602. And let's just see, well, before we do the dental, let's just run through the same things we ran through with Noreen's case. Let's go look for tattoos and then look for DNA and then look for dental information. So we'll go to the physical medical page. Several tattoos on both legs, that's all it says. So the family knows or somebody knows that Christine had tattoos on her legs, but nothing like the starburst nothing like the starburst is described that we could potentially match up to the starburst tattoo on our decedent's back. Going to the DNA page, sample is currently not available. So that's a showstopper right there. How about fingerprints? Fingerprint information is currently not available. So we'll go back to dental then, and we'll see that Christine is missing her third molars, her wisdom teeth, numbers 1 and 16 on the top. She's also missing those teeth on the bottom, number 17 and number 32. But Christine has something that our decedent does not. Christine has an F, which stands for filling, in tooth number 30, and she also has fillings in teeth number 14 and 19. Well, if Christine has fillings in those teeth, yet our Jane Doe has those teeth, but they're not filled, then this is a basis for an exclusion. So again, Christine, the missing person out of Albuquerque, New Mexico area, has fillings in teeth 14, 19, and number 30. We can also look at on the images page and see that there are dental radiographs that could be compared by an odontologist. And these fillings are actually imaged. The 3 teeth that I mentioned earlier that have fillings, we have radiographs of those 3 teeth. If you recall on our Jane Doe, case number 6727, looking at the charting, even though some of the anterior teeth with the P's are missing post-mortem, you'll notice that teeth 14 and 19 and 3 and 30, the first molars, they're all listed as natural. So if the dental charting is correct on the decedent, our decedent has no fillings in those 3 teeth, those 3 first molars, which means that is the basis of an exclusion. You can't have a person go missing with fillings in a particular tooth or teeth and then find that person with those same teeth unfilled. You cannot unrestore a tooth. So right now I would say that this is a basis for an exclusion, but I would take advantage of the NamUs subject matter expert in odontology in my area, and this is the Southwest. And that subject matter expert is Dr. Peter Loomis at the Office of the Medical Investigator in Albuquerque, New Mexico. And I would ask Dr. Loomis to take a look at these 2 cases to compare my Jane Doe with the information we have on NamUs to Christine and see if he couldn't perform an exclusion based on the criteria that I just mentioned. Now, if Dr. Loomis did feel as if there was sufficient information to do the exclusion to the Christine Julian case, And note that there is, in the activities log here, note that exclusion based on dental information by Dr. Peter Loomis. We could make that viewable to the public because obviously the family of Christine, if they're looking for their daughter amongst the unidentified cases in NamUs, they would like to know which individuals can be excluded. We'll post that message. And there it is right there, exclusion based on dental information by Dr. Peter Loomis. So as you just saw, we excluded this individual on the training site within the activities log. And we did that because there's no special button to push that says exclude this missing persons on the training site. We'll show you what that looks like in a moment on the real NamUs site. But if we were on the real NamUs site and we did exclude Christine Julian as our Jane Doe, we then could go and look at the exclusions, which is right above the possible missing persons matches, open up the exclusions page, and if we did do it through the real system, you would see that Christine Julian's name would appear amongst the exclusions. That's viewable by the public, and that lets families of missing people know that this particular unidentified person has been excluded on a scientific basis by somebody within the NamUs system. Now, to show you what that exclude this MP case actually looks like, we'll go to the real site. We'll see here that we have a highlighted area that says exclude this MP case. We then have a drop down that lists the name of the person, her MP number, state she went missing from, and then we have to fill out, at least we should fill out, the reasons for the exclusion. In this particular case, we would choose dental, and we would say something as simply as per Dr. Loomis, and Dr. Loomis would put a description in both the missing persons case and the unidentified persons case as to why he excluded this person based on dentation. If you're excluding this person perhaps on fingerprints, then you get another subject matter expert to do the comparison for you. If it's just circumstances, somebody who went missing in 1945 and then some fresh body that was found in 2008 on circumstantial information, you could exclude those people. But once you fill out these two fields, you then come over and you would put add to exclusions, and with that button, if you pushed it, it would give you a second chance to back away from the exclusion and say, do you sure you want to really exclude this person? But in this particular case, we won't even push the button. We'll just hit cancel to back out of this, as this is just a demonstration on how to use the exclude this missing persons file. But if you did push the add to exclusions, you would then find that that particular case would be added to the exclusions for our particular person. Because we didn't push the button and because we've not excluded anybody yet for this particular case out of Arizona, you can see that the exclusions list are empty. So that is the way that you can use NamUs to manage your unidentified case files vis-a-vis comparing them, such as the way we just went through, comparing them to potential matches that are in the missing person side of NamUs. You may also have to do comparisons on your cases on the unidentified side against people that are not on the missing person side of NamUs. You may have to go to other websites that list missing people, or you may get emails or phone calls or letters with descriptions of missing people that, again, are not currently on the NamUs system. And you can use that information to compare to all the descriptions, all the descriptors that you have for your unidentified person in NamUs.